So, OpenAI's Sam Altman recently made this prediction that honestly sounds completely unhinged.
Yeah, it really does when you first hear it.
Right. He said that within the next few years, we're going to see a billion-dollar company run by like exactly one person. No massive executive team, no HR department, just a founder and an artificial intelligence.
And the crazy part is, looking at the stack of data we're diving into today, the math shows he's actually right.
Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. Our mission today is to explore a whole stack of articles, data reports, and analyses to understand this total collapse of traditional company scaling. We are looking at the rise of what people are calling the zero-employee unicorn.
It really does sound like science fiction. I mean, a single person running a billion-dollar company. But the structural shift is already happening right under our noses.
Yeah, and whether you are a freelancer, a startup founder, or just, a middle manager trying to navigate the modern workforce, understanding how to harness this new era of agentic leverage is critical so you don't get left behind.
Yep. Absolutely. Because for years, the traditional SaaS benchmark, like what top quartile software companies aimed for, was about $200,000 in annual recurring revenue, or ARR per employee. That was the gold standard.
Right.
But today, new numbers from SaaStr show those exact same top companies are generating between $500,000 and $700,000 per employee.
Wait, let me stop you right there because the sources mention an AI native company called Cursor hitting an astonishing $3.3 million in ARR per employee.
Yeah, 3.3 million.
My immediate skeptical reaction to that is just, well, how much of that is just the current AI hype bubble artificially inflating revenue versus a real sustainable shift in how business is done?
I mean, it's a totally fair question. But when you look under the hood, it's not a temporary bubble. It is basically the mathematical conclusion of artificial intelligence meeting modern SaaS infrastructure.
Okay, let's unpack this because to understand exactly how a single human can build a billion-dollar company, we first need to look at how the fundamental concept of leverage has evolved over human history. Because it didn't start with AI, right?
Exactly. The investor Naval Ravikant has this brilliant framework where he traces the 4 historical types of leverage. The first and oldest is labor leverage.
Which is just managing other humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Historically, if you wanted to build a skyscraper, you needed an army of laborers. But labor has incredibly high friction. You need hierarchy, managers to manage the managers, payroll systems, and you have to deal with interpersonal politics.
Oh, yeah. The classic construction site dynamic.
Yeah.
And then came the industrial age, which gave us the second type, right? Capital leverage.
Yes. Borrowing money to buy machines. One factory owner with 10 steam engines could suddenly outproduce 100 manual laborers. But you still had this massive bottleneck. You needed gatekeepers.
Like banks.
Exactly. You had to convince a bank or wealthy investors to give you the capital to buy the machines in the first place.
Then the internet hits, Web 2.0 arrives, and we get the third type, which completely bypassed those gatekeepers. Code leverage.
Code gave us permissionless leverage. I mean, if you could write code, you could create software that worked for you while you slept. This is what gave us the first wave of lean unicorn.
Like Instagram, right?
Yeah, think about Instagram. When Facebook bought them for $1 billion, Instagram was serving tens of millions of users, but they had exactly 13 employees. WhatsApp was acquired for $19 billion with just 55 employees.
But even with code leverage, there was a catch. You still had to know how to actually write the code yourself or raise capital to hire expensive engineers who did. Which brings us to the fourth, type AI and agentic leverage. So past tech eras just gave us better shovels, but you still needed people to dig the hole. Is AI just a better backhoe, or is it literally digging the hole itself?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, AI is moving from being software you use to software that acts.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, in the code era, you had to tell the computer exactly how to do something step by step. In the AI era, you tell it what you want, and it figures out the how. The founder is no longer a laborer. They are an orchestrator of an agent swarm.
An agent swarm. I kind of love that term. And the sources break down how these swarms actually function autonomously using the OD loop. Observe, orient, decide, act. Walk me through how an agent runs this without human intervention.
Sure. Let's say you run an e-commerce site. An AI agent is constantly monitoring your analytics, that is the observe phase. It notices, say, a 15% drop in conversion specifically for mobile users in Germany.
Okay.
Next, it moves to orient. It analyzes session recordings and heat maps and realizes the German translation on the mobile checkout button is cutting off halfway.
Oh, wow. Okay, so a traditional software alert would just ping the founder on Slack right there.
Right, but an agent moves to decide. It decides the best course of action is to A/B test a shorter German translation. Finally, it moves to act. It writes the new code, deploys it to the site, monitors traffic for 4 hours, and once it confirms conversions are back up, it just logs a report.
That is wild. No human intervention at all. It's literally a fully autonomous C-suite. You're the CEO, but your CTO writing the code is an AI. Your CMO handling programmatic SEO is an AI.
Exactly. And your chief sales officer is an AI doing 247 outbound and inbound sales.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If AI is doing the digging, what exactly are these solitary humans actually building? The sources highlight some fascinating Solo-Corp archetypes generating millions today.
Yeah, let's start with micro SaaS and AI wrappers. A great example from the research is Danny Postma. During COVID, he built a tool called Headlime in just 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah, and he integrated it with early GPT-3 and eventually sold it for $1 million. But then he launched Headshot Pro, an AI photo startup. He made over $100,000 in just 2 weeks, scaling to an estimated $3.6 million in ARR alone.
Just staggering numbers. And then there's the IP and data holding archetype. Gary Brewer built a tool called BuiltWith as a side project. He now generates $14 million in ARR with exactly one employer, himself.
Right, and the way he does it is amazing.
Yeah, he automates customer service so aggressively that he answers questions in 10 seconds with links to 20-second video tutorials he pre-recorded.
Exactly. And then there's the content to monetization flywheel. Justin Welsh built a $12 million creator MBA business over 6 years.
With a 91% profit margin.
91%. He does it using what he calls an army of robots automated newsletters and social media assets to essentially earn while he sleeps.
Okay, but how should a solo operator actually price these services? I mean, so they don't end up just being an underpaid high-tech freelancer. The shift to productized services using tools like Outseta seems key here.
It is key. The secret is moving away from hourly or seat-based pricing toward usage-based or outcome-based pricing.
Makes sense.
You charge for the result, like the YouTube example from the sources. You don't sell generic AI marketing. You sell a specific outcome. You tell a dental clinic, I will turn your Google reviews into 15 booked appointments per month. You charge for the result, not the time it took to generate it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because it's easy to look at these massive numbers and think this is a guaranteed path to wealth. But the reality is much darker.
Much darker. Most people attempting this will fail miserably. The internal operational challenges, according to FlexiLabs, are severe. When you handle all roles, you risk intense burnout.
And limited resources.
Exactly. Plus, what's known as the perfectionism trap or decision fatigue. If you over-automate, you risk producing complete garbage and losing any real connection with your customers.
And the external risks are terrifying. Think about platform risk. If OpenAI changes their API pricing tomorrow, your entire workforce just vanishes overnight.
Oh, absolutely. And liability. What if your AI trading bot violates SEC rules? Who goes to jail?
You do, not the bot.
Right. Or hackers using prompt injection to trick your AI into refunding orders.
It's a nightmare. And this brings up the collapse of the middle. Agencies selling basic generic content packages are just going to be wiped out because the cost of basic execution is collapsing to zero.
But contrast that with companies scaling responsibly. Look at Legora, an AI legal tech startup founded by a 26-year-old with zero legal background.
Wow, really? No legal background at all?
None.
Yeah.
And they hit $100 million in AR in just 18 months, raising money at a $5.55 billion valuation. It proves complex industries are adopting AI incredibly fast.
Okay, but let me push back on the concept of supply here. If everyone listening to this deep dive has access to the exact same AI agents, doesn't the market just get flooded with mediocre AI-generated junk? I mean, how do you stand out when the barrier to entry is literally zero?
This raises an important question. When output is cheap, the competitive advantage fundamentally shifts. It shifts from capacity to taste, direction, and speed.
Taste and direction. Because you still have to know what to build.
Exactly. A one-person company beats a 10-person agency not by being smarter, but because they have zero meetings, zero corporate politics, and zero friction. They can decide and ship in hours what takes a traditional agency weeks.
But while speed of decision-making is the operational advantage, there is this surprising, deeply human, competitive moat that has absolutely nothing to do with code or algorithms.
Empathy.
Yes. There was a World Economic Forum study conducted with Stanford University that revealed a massive empathy gap. They found that 73% of consumers actively avoid businesses that don't show empathy.
And 72% feel companies just stop caring the second a transaction is complete.
Right. Think about it. Think about the last time you were incredibly frustrated with a service. Did you want a faster chatbot, or did you want to feel heard by a real person?
Exactly. Because while AI is incredibly efficient, 71% of consumers believe AI cannot forge genuine human connections.
And 92% still value direct human interaction over 247 AI availability.
This brings up a really dangerous trap called LL empathy,
Right, where the AI merely mimics empathy without actually understanding anything.
which actually erodes customer trust even further. It feels hollow.
It's insulting. When you're upset and a robot says, "I understand your frustration," you know it doesn't.
What's fascinating here is that the future isn't about eliminating humans. It's the human X-machine paradigm. The successful Solo-Corp operator automates the boring, repetitive tasks.
So they can preserve their mental bandwidth for those emotionally charged, vulnerable moments where real authenticity is required. Empathy is basically the ultimate unautomatable ROI.
It's about eliminating robotic tasks so humans can actually act like humans again.
I love that. So just to briefly recap our journey today, we are moving rapidly from the traditional headcount-heavy business model to the high-leverage, AI-driven Solo-Corp.
Yes, the new metric for success isn't how many employees you manage, it's your revenue per employee ratio.
And your ability to orchestrate AI while maintaining authentic human trust.
Exactly.
Which leaves us with a final, lingering thought for you to explore on your own. In the old world, a 500-person company distributed the blame when things went wrong.
Right, you could blame the marketing team or the developers.
But if you are a one-person company wielding the productive capacity of 500 workers, sure, you hold all the leverage and all the profits. But you also hold 100% of the accountability. The technology has removed the execution barrier, but the real question you have to ask yourself is, are you psychologically prepared to be the single point of failure?